Appreciate it. JD here. Good to have you on board. The singer-songwriter Elton John in an interview talking about one of his best songs, one of the songs that I like the most is the song Your Song. It's just, to me, it's just a great song, whether it's because flashbacks to when it came out and, you know, when you start to discover music and it starts to resonate in your life, his album 11770, about the time where you're maybe getting your first car and you're playing those songs over or you're listening to the albums. But he said he sat down and he wrote Your Song in about 20 minutes. And he said it just happened. It just, as he started to play, it just poured forward. Now, with regard to what we're seeing in the news today with the suspension of the 2012 presidential campaign by Rick Perry and the press conference with Newt Gingrich and the poll numbers out of South Carolina putting Newt in front of Mitt Romney, this is that kind of a show where you don't have to write it. You just sit down and it just comes to you. It just happens. It's organic. You can't explain it. Some days you look at all the news, and I usually start prepping for the show about 4 o'clock in the morning, and you look through all the stories, you look through all the audio logs, you're watching all the channels, and you just kind of go, where is it? Where is it? What am I looking for? And when I try and put together a show, I try and have some type of a through line or a theme. Yesterday we were talking about groupthink and how groupthink has really set us back in a lot of areas, socially, economically, educationally, and how individuality is something that I think we need, obviously, to strive for more of in this country. But it's some days you just look at what is and you just go, wow, it's all coming together. It all starts to make sense, whether what's making sense makes sense or not. In the end result, it just is what it is. It is that simple. And as I was watching today with Governor Perry bowing out of the campaign, it had so many dovetails into the political establishment, the ruling elite, the status quo, the stranglehold of the two-party system. You understand why we're in the kind of shape we're in economically and politically in this country. And you look at the games that are being played, and you look at how people follow like sheep, and you look at how issues that were of importance now aren't so important. Things that they did value, they don't value as much anymore. And it's one of those things where you just go, I don't have to tell you about the song. I can just play the song for you. And the best way I can do it is to give you what's being said and show you what was said. And then you can determine whether or not that song resonates with you. The poll question up there for you today at the website, jerrydoyle.com. It said, it seems the Republican establishment has determined the statute of limitations on morality and character to be 16 to 20 years. Now, that's in order to provide cover for open marriage Gingrich. What do you say to that? 37% say it's old news. Move on. 44% say there is no time limit. And 20% say morality will matter again after Election Day. You can answer it there or here at 800-876-4123. Now, as I watch the Republican establishment, the Republican suck-ups, the insiders, with regard to Newt Gingrich's infidelities and his desire to be in an open marriage with his ex-wife, Marianne, this is where I warn the Republican Party about wearing your morality on your sleeve and leading with God, gays, guns, and abortion. When you're out there telling everyone that you're the party of character, you're the party of morality, you're the party of family values, you're the party that people should trust because you live such pure and chaste and wondrous and virtuous lives that has to be a natural extension to what you would do politically. But as I listened to this focus group phony Hannity last night on Fox, when someone brought up the infidelity of Newt Gingrich, he goes, 15 years ago? Yeah, but what about 15 years ago? 15 years ago, that was old news. I guess it doesn't matter if it's old news, if it's Obama's birth certificate, or if it's Reverend Wright, or Bill Ayers, or what he wrote in college, or where he went to school. That's not old news. I listen to these Republican suck-ups and these institutional ruling elite of the Republican Party that will go out there and champion family values. They'll champion morality. Let me ask you this question. If the economy had already turned, if jobs were being created at a number much greater than they are today, If people's houses were going up in value, if businesses were starting up, if jobs were being created, if the economy was expanding, if debt was being paid down, and Obama had cheated on his wife, do you think they'd say that's old news? No, they wouldn't. It's selective morality. It's pure political BS. The statute of limitations on morality and character is now set by the Republican ruling elite and by the focus group ponies like Hannity and others to be somewhere in the area of 16 to 20 years. Now, I listened to the audio segments that were released by ABC with Gingrich's ex-wife, Marianne, and I'm watching people on Fox reading articles on Republican websites that are just saying, well, this is nothing new. Everybody knows that. And that's okay? Listen to Newt Gingrich's ex-wife talking about what Newt Gingrich wanted her to be a part of, just 15 years ago.
I said to him, Newt, we've been married a long time. And he said, yes, but you want me all to yourself. Callista doesn't care what I do.
What was he saying to you, you think?
He was asking to have an open marriage, and I refused.
He wanted an open marriage?
Yeah, that I accept the fact that he has somebody else in his life.
And you said?
No, that is not a marriage.
I find myself at the Basilica every Sunday morning where Callista sings, and I just have such a sense of comfort.
You Republicans are okay with that? I'm specifically talking to you people down in South Carolina, you Southern conservative Christians, keyword being Christians, that somehow think that this is cool or that it's old news and that it doesn't matter. Well, Jerry, that was 15 years ago. Yeah, when he was 50 years old. It wasn't like it was 15 years ago when he was 18 or 19 years old. He was an adult. He was an adult. He was the former Speaker of the House. He was the architect of the contract with America. He supposedly got Reagan to believe in supply-side economics, which helped to make Mitt Romney wealthy. He supposedly convinced Reagan to convince Gorbachev to tear down this wall. He supposedly ended the Cold War. But that was 15 years ago when it mattered. But 15 years ago, when he asked his wife to be involved in an open relationship with another woman who knew that Newt Gingrich was married, who decided to have a relationship with him, today that's cool. Why? Explain it to me. You Southern Christian conservatives who wear religion on your sleeve. Use it as a sword. Now show me how you're going to use it as a shield. 800-876-4123. And you want to talk about a shield? This is how phony Newt Gingrich is. This is what an absolute slime ball this guy is. Because, we hear about how the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and the Islamists will use women and children in front of their mosques to just dare the United States military to drop bombs on them because we value women and children. We don't like when they use women and children. Well, in the aftermath of the comments from his ex-wife, and supposedly in a press conference today, Newt Gingrich was going to talk about the endorsement in Walterboro, South Carolina from Rick Perry. So here comes Newt Gingrich to talk about the endorsement. But what does he do? He uses women and children as human shields to shield him from criticism of the open marriage comments of his ex-wife, Marianne. Women and children.
Callista and I are thrilled to be here. But because we're now sort of in the last stretch of this particular primary, we've had family come join us, and I want to introduce several people to you. I want to introduce one of my debate coaches. I have two senior debate coaches who I work with on a regular basis and who have been very effective, and one of them is Robert Cushman. Robert, come on over.
Who's Robert Cushman?
This is our grandson, and we always check in with he and his sister. She couldn't get off because she actually has ballet the next couple of days. Robert you're playing hooky. You're here. This is his mother. This is an educational field trip for Robert, and I'm thrilled. And he's very good at chess. And he thinks deeply, and he gives me key advice, which is mostly to keep it shorter and clearer. Maggie, his older sister, who's 12, is my other advisor, and her basic role is to make sure I smile often enough, because I'm too intense apparently, and so she counts my smiles in every debate. And I check in with both of them, and their advice has been pretty steady all the way through.
Oh, he's not done. Grandson
This is
as
their
the senior
mother,
debate coach.
Jackie Cushman, and my daughter. This is my sister, Susan, and we're looking for, I have another sister, I think, here somewhere, Robbie, but I don't know where she is right now. And this is my brother, Randy. And from a hunting and fishing background, Randy has a particular relevance, first because he is the leading hunter in the family, and any of you who like to hunt, he would be glad to chat with you later on and compare notes. In addition, he was a policeman for a good while, and is still does investigative work for the state of Pennsylvania. So he has both a background in law enforcement, but he's also happy to, for any of you who like the Second Amendment and like to talk about firearms, he's ready. Now, I should also say, Robert has joined that club because for Christmas, he got a .410 single shot, and his father promptly took him out skeet shooting the next day, and there's at least some belief that Robert outshot his father. I don't think that's actually true, but it sounds so good.
So, to all of you fools out there who either willingly, wantingly, or unknowingly are being fooled by this guy, seduced by this guy, as he rolls out this Hallmark card of family to you to say, see, vote for me. The only person who wasn't on the stage was his ex-wife, who he was trying to convince to have an open marriage. A Republican former Speaker of the House who wants to be the Republican nominee, who's campaigning in a conservative Christian southern state, doesn't have his ex-wife or even his ex-ex-wife, who he decided to walk out on when she was being treated for cancer. And the focus group phonies like Hannity and the Republican suck-up said, well, she didn't die. I guess that's good enough when nothing else matters other than winning.
Jerry Doyle.
800-876-4123. When I was listening to Rick Perry's I'm out of the race for now speech, I was listening to why he was getting out and what he stood for and what he believed in. And I could have sworn that he was going to endorse Ron Paul. Because when you listen to his speech, you would think that that's who he would support. But that's not who he does support. And I don't know anybody who can support Newt Gingrich, but you have to sleep at night. You have to put your head on your pillow, and you have to reconcile this with your God. 800-876-4123. Stick with me.
This is the Jerry Doyle Show.